Hello and welcome to everybody watching. My name is Dan from the It's Okay to Game team. Now everybody just sit back, relax and let me do the work for the next 20 minutes. So today I was going to do the town in which I built the coaster yesterday, or last episode. But before I do that, I wanted to fix up the waterfront on the entrance plaza side. I felt like it missed something, and so I started building this little, well, it's not a restaurant, it's more like a food court. It's just a little building with some shops inside of it, some food, some souvenirs, but I still wanted to maintain the view of the coaster, so I also had to build a path around the store on which you could just walk and still admire the coaster. Now this was a bit of a challenging building, and I'm not quite sure how happy I am in terms of how it looks at the end. I mean, of course now you can't really judge yet, since by this point I've only got some simple walls, but I feel like it was just a little bit of a mix and match of things, and yeah, I'm just not over the moon of it. So if anyone wants to let me know in the comments what they feel, I would be thankful for that, because at the moment I really can't decide. So as you can see, I'm now just building some standard pieces, or at least standard pieces of decoration, which I'm using to build this building, or at least decorate it. And I had one side that was, instead of 4 meters wide, it was 5 meters wide. And I thought, how big of a deal can that be? Well, it kind of became a big deal when I started doing the roof. As you can see here, there is no roof for a 5 meter wide gap. So of course I had to give some detail to the roof in the way of outlining the shape of it. That also already adds a ton. As you can see, it's just that little bit, it helps. So as you can see here, I'm just building up some of those a little bit of ornaments, I guess you can call them. But I don't know how well they fit within the whole building. But moving swiftly on, I'm now building up the throne room of King Beowulf. This is inside the castle I've built previous episode, and also the lighting is a little bit weird, but that's because the light was a bit too bright. So I had to change this time of day to properly see all the shadows and all the textures. But I was planning to have Beowulf just sit here in his chair, and he could tell you something. However, there was no king model in the game, and also none on the workshop or an easily accessible one for free online. So I had to end up with Beowulf on a horse, which is a little odd, but I managed to work around it by just changing the story of the ride. So yeah, the stables are gonna take quite a bit of time to be built. So I'm gonna use this time, since I think the idea of it is pretty clear and simple, to tell you why my audio is possibly sounding a bit weird. A few days ago I moved. I'm in a new apartment, and now my setup is like in this corner, like it's in between two walls, so it's a bit echoey here, and that will cause a problem later on when I have a section that I recorded when I was still in my old house, or in my old room, I should say. And well, that's a bit unfortunate, but you will probably hear it and you'll think, hey, that's weird. That's why. So now I'm adding an effect in the station flyby. That is that when this train goes through, I'm planning to have like a monster roar and to have like these candles on the wall, and or torches on the wall. It's not really candle, is it? These torches, and as the train flies by, they are being put out because of the speed at which they come through. Which was a pain to do because there's no like deactivate button in Blend Coaster. But I will show you that effect shortly, the end result. As you've already also seen by the time-lapse, and by a lot more actually, because not everything I've built is in the time-lapse, I've built a lot more. As you can see, I've laid out the queue through like this inner plaza. I want to make like the castle wrapping around here, so I have like some castle around it that will just be a facade. There won't actually be an entire castle behind it, but it's for the, the illusion. And also here, you can, from the queue, you can see like the main hall, the station. Of course, I've got to make like a nice outside for that too. And then in here, I've also done quite a bit of work. This is the throne room for King Beowulf. As you can see, here he is. This is the best king you can get without like going through modeling it all yourself, because there's no king model on the workshop, and this is the best king model in game. I absolutely hate that it's on a horse. Like without the horse you could just say like, well, that's good enough. With the horse it just is a bit silly. I've also like got the speaker tucked underneath here because I want to actually make it seem like Beowulf is saying something. Something like, knights, get on your horses, something like that. So that as like get ready for battle because we're gonna fight this beast. And that's the way I like explained the horse. Then you turn right underneath like the station flyby track, and you actually go into a stable to like pick a horse, and then you move up the lift hill. Also, yeah, of course, the village. I've started work on like the facade, which will house some shops and of course the entrance to the coaster. I also grabbed those buildings. Those are not workshop items. These are buildings I've actually already built myself in another park, just like this one. This was actually the entrance of the very first park I've ever built. It was meant to be like this small little park, and this was like the entrance. There were no doors behind it. I made those to have like this little backstage area, which I'm gonna build over here and make it a little bit believable, like you could actually pass through here. So the next thing I wanted to tackle was that I found the shoreline of the lake look incredibly bland. So what I wanted to do was just add some rock work, add some foliage, and just well, make it a little more well, not fun to look at, but at least make it look good. And so this is what I was doing. I'm not sure where I've exactly seen this technique, but if you add like the lilies, the water lilies, and some upside down seaweed, that looks incredible on coastlines like these. You will see me adding seaweed now. I think it was on one of those Channel 5 Park Spotlight videos. And then of course I also have this little bit of shoreline, and I thought, you know, I'm not gonna add anything here, so I just added a lot of well, grass and other like little bushes, a little bit of rock work. And of course, when I was done with the rocks, I also spiced it up again with lilies and upside down seaweed. I already talked about how GCI wooden roller coasters most often have a station flyby. But what I didn't mention is that they also often have, or maybe even always have, a path through the maintenance shed. So that's what I'm building here. As you can see, I'm adding in multiple tracks, and I was just gonna make this like this quite simple wooden shed. So now the entire shed itself is done, but of course it's still inaccessible to employees of the park or people who want to actually do maintenance in the shed. So I'm building like this little staircase, well, up to the shed now. In hindsight, I should have probably put it on the other side, since, you know, that's the side where the station is, and so that's most likely the side that employees are gonna come from. So now I'm gonna have to be a little bit creative and make a path, which I have not done in this episode. But now of course the outside and the inside were still quite lagging, so I added some windows. And well, you know, the idea of the entire shed was that it's very basic, so more than this is not exactly what I'm gonna do for decorating it. But by now it still was, as you can see, incredibly dark in here, so I did have to add a little bit of lighting. with all that done, I was gonna do some foliage to hide the maintenance shed and to hide some of the track from the exit path. The story is you're battling a dragon, and I wanted to incorporate that by like adding some alive foliage and adding some, well, quote unquote, burnt down forest. So you'll see me adding some alive trees right now, but to the left you also see like this dead trees with dead bushes, and you know, the idea behind this is that the dragon came by and burned it down. But yeah, this is the way I hid the maintenance shed from sight from the path. And now I was gonna do the last bit of storytelling element on the right, and that is King Beowulf thanking you for helping him defeat the dragon. Of course, in the real story, the dragon defeats him, but you know, in the spirit of keeping it a little bit child friendly, we'll just say that Beowulf defeated the dragon. So in here, like, this is Beowulf coming out of on the balcony to thank you for your servants and services, and to say that you're welcome and at any time. I also have made some inside, or at least, like, you know, made a hallway he's walking through to greet you. However, I apparently didn't record that, so you will see how that looks in the next episode. Well, with all that done, last bit of foliage to shut the ride off from the outside of the park. And with that, I'm gonna leave you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next episode.